most powerful navy on Earth, the United States Navy, sails on Italian warships. Not Italian parts, not Italian engines, entire warships. Designed by an Italian company, built on American soil. The helicopter that lands on British aircraft carriers? Italian. The electronics inside America's most classified fighter jet? Italian. The pistol NATO soldiers carried for 30 years? Italian. And right now, Italy is co-building a stealth fighter that costs more than every F-35 it has ever purchased. Combined, and almost nobody knows. For 80 years, the world has told one joke about Italy's military. Surrenders, white flags, tanks with reverse gears. Italy heard the joke, and then it did something brilliant. It used it. This is Italy's silent forge. Italy invaded Greece in 1940 and got pushed back. It collapsed in North Africa. It surrendered 6 weeks after the Allies landed in Sicily, switched sides, and spent the rest of the war fighting its own former ally. For 80 years, that's been the whole story. So explain this. Fincantieri, a company owned by the Italian government, designed the FFG-62 Constellation-class frigate for the US Navy, an Italian design for the American fleet. When Indonesia needed combat ships, they didn't call Washington, they called Rome. The second Indonesian warship arrived in March 2026, after sailing from Italy around the Cape of Good Hope.
The Navy's newest and largest warship, Prabu Siliwangi 321, has officially docked in Jakarta after a transcontinental voyage from Italy.
Fincantieri's order backlog is 60 billion euros, more than the entire GDP of Croatia, 100 ships. Revenue heading from 9 billion to 12.5 billion by 2030. They're doubling defense production within 4 years. That's one company. Leonardo generated 17.8 billion euros in revenue in 2024. It operates in 150 countries. It employs 8,000 people in the United States. That's more than some American defense contractors employ in their own country. Leonardo builds the electronics inside the F-35, helicopters for NATO, radar for navies on 5 continents, and 80% of its revenue comes from exports. Leonardo makes more money arming other countries' militaries than arming its own. That's 2 companies. Beretta, founded in 1526, 500 years old, the oldest active firearms manufacturer on Earth. NATO standardized its sidearm. They chose Italian. The Beretta M9 sat in American holsters for over 30 years. 52,000 defense workers. 6 billion euros in arms export licenses in 2023. More than Italy spends on its entire public university system. France was the top buyer. Ukraine was second. 417 million euros. Italy is quietly feeding one of the largest conflicts in modern history. From the country the world says can't fight. And this is just the industry. Wait until you see what Italy put in the water. Like and subscribe. Most channels won't show you what comes next. Italy operates 2 aircraft carriers, not helicopter pads on destroyers, not small-deck amphibious ships. 2 full carriers. One with F-35B stealth fighters on deck. The Cavour carries 5th-generation jets that can take off vertically and strike targets hundreds of kilometers away. The Trieste is a massive amphibious assault ship that doubles as a backup carrier when needed. Together, they give Italy something most European nations don't have: the ability to project force anywhere, independently, without asking anyone for permission. 2 aircraft carriers. From the country famous for surrendering. Italy's navy has 309 ships, one of the largest fleets in the Mediterranean. Every vessel passing between the Suez Canal and the Strait of Gibraltar moves through Italian-patrolled waters. That's not geography, that's a toll booth. But the ship that tells the real story is the PPA, a 143-meter warship that can be operated by 2 people. 2. a pilot and co-pilot in a naval cockpit, managing engines, weapons, navigation, and combat systems from a single station. Most navies won't achieve this for another decade. Italy has it now. The PPA program is worth 4.3 billion euros. 7 ships for Italy, export orders already flowing. The bow is modeled after ancient Roman warship rams, a hull shape that cuts drag and fuel consumption. Some Roman engineers figured this out 2,000 years ago. Modern Italy brought it back, stamped a price tag on it, and started selling it. And right now, Italian warships are leading the EU's Operation Aspides in the Red Sea, protecting global shipping from Houthi attacks. A combat role the world usually hands to America or Britain. Not Italy, never Italy. Except it is Italy. It's been Italy this whole time. Everything you've heard so far is the part Italy wanted to keep quiet. What comes next is the bet that might blow the whole cover. For 80 years, Italy's real military strategy has been simple. Stay invisible, stay profitable. Let the world underestimate you. Nobody sanctions a country they don't take seriously. Nobody calls it an arms race when the country building the weapons is famous for pizza. It worked beautifully. But eventually, you write a check so big the whole world turns around. In February 2026, Italy's parliament approved 8.8 billion euros for a jet that nobody has ever flown. GCAP, a 6th-generation stealth fighter being built with Britain and Japan. Italy's total share, 18.6 billion euros. To feel how big that is, Italy spent 18 billion euros to buy 90 F-35s, actual jets, flying today, defending Italian airspace right now. GCAP has already surpassed that figure and hasn't produced a single aircraft. The cost tripled in 4 years, from 6 billion to 18.6 billion. The opposition called Parliament a cash dispenser issuing billions like peanuts. But here's the part the politicians arguing about the price don't say out loud. Every euro spent on GCAP goes to an Italian company. 3,000 engineers at Leonardo's facilities in Turin, Rome, and Florence. Over 100 million euros already contracted to Italian subcontractors. Leonardo's CEO told investors that every percentage point increase in Italy's defense budget means 2.5 billion euros in revenue for his company. Italy is also using an EU loophole to unlock 12 billion more over 3 years, borrowing for weapons without triggering deficit penalties. For a country at 137% debt to GDP, that's not budgeting. That's gambling with house money. Leonardo projects 24 billion in revenue by 2029. Fincantieri projects 12.5 billion by 2030. The defense industry sits on 60 billion euros of backlog stretching decades. Italy turned military spending into an economic engine, and nobody checked because nobody was watching. But 18.6 billion on a jet nobody has seen. That's the kind of number that makes headlines. And headlines are exactly what Italy spent 80 years avoiding. Italy built a visible empire once. Legions and warships that ruled the Mediterranean for centuries. That empire fell, and the world spent a very long time telling Italy it was finished. So Italy built another one. This one doesn't march, doesn't conquer. It manufactures. Leonardo in 150 countries. Fincantieri under a dozen flags. Beretta in every NATO holster. If you want more breakdowns like this, where we go beyond the weapons and into the strategy nobody else covers, subscribe and hit the bell. For 80 years, the world looked at Italy and saw a joke. Italy looked back and saw customers.